feel like I really understand that we have a responsibility to change the narrative around what we are delivering to young people in the
Behind the closed doors of the palace, a quiet nightmare is unfolding, and Princess Beatrice has reportedly hit her absolute breaking point. Whispers from the inner circle reveal she is in the middle of a devastating struggle, desperately fracturing her own emotional health to shield her sister Eugenie from a sudden, terrifying wave of headlines. Decades of hidden elite associations are roaring back into the light, threatening to completely dismantle everything they have left to protect. You'll want to stay until the very last second of this video, because the final piece of this puzzle recontextualizes the entire crisis and reveals a name that has the institution in absolute panic. If you love unraveling the biggest secrets behind the curtain, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to join our inner circle. We'd love to have you along for the journey. The carefully constructed facade of the House of York didn't just crack, it completely shattered behind closed doors. Insiders say the tension inside the palace has reached a fever pitch, leaving Princess Beatrice carrying a crushing emotional burden that no one saw coming. For years, she acted as the ultimate shield for her family, absorbing the blows of endless public scrutiny. But a brand new, deeply unsettling connection involving her mother, Sarah Ferguson, has pushed her straight to the edge. Reports suggest Beatrice is currently in the middle of a severe personal struggle, desperate to protect her sister, Princess Eugenie, from a storm that is rapidly spiraling out of control. The weight of these new developments has completely rattled both sisters, forcing them to confront ghosts from their parents' past that were supposed to stay buried forever. Just when the palace thought the media cycle was finally calming down, a devastating new timeline emerged, linking Fergie directly to the disgraced music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. This isn't just about the familiar controversies that have trailed their father, Prince Andrew, for decades. Instead, this shocking crossover has brought Diddy's notorious world directly into their family history, sparking a level of panic the institution hasn't seen in years. What terrified Princess Beatrice the most wasn't just the association itself, but the incredibly specific, damaging details now splashing across global headlines. According to royal biographer Andrew Loney, Sarah Ferguson and Diddy allegedly shared a secret, years-long connection that was kept entirely under wraps. Sources indicate that newly uncovered details point to a series of highly exclusive, incredibly expensive encounters that took place in luxury hotel suites across Europe and Africa. The sheer numbers being tossed around by insiders are enough to make anyone do a double take, with reports suggesting these nightly stays commanded staggering price tags of up to £50,000. Beatrice is reportedly firefighting these headlines around the clock, fully aware of how toxic the narrative becomes when a British royal is tied to Diddy's ongoing global legal fallout. But the true horror for the family goes even deeper than expensive hotel rooms. Rumors indicate that Diddy possessed an intense, calculated obsession with the British monarchy, to the point where he reportedly boasted about his access to elite circles. As the pressure mounts, Beatrice is left dealing with the emotional wreckage of a family name dragged back into the mud. The trail leads directly back to a notorious social circle where a single introduction set off a catastrophic chain reaction. And the specific, unsettling boasts Diddy allegedly made regarding the future of the York family are about to change everything we thought we knew. Behind palace walls, the real terror wasn't just the money spent on these luxury rooms. It was a chilling, unspoken motive that went far beyond Sarah Ferguson. Rumors indicate that Sean Diddy Combs harbored a calculated obsession with the British royal family, viewing them as the ultimate badge of elite status. But what he allegedly whispered behind closed doors is what truly sent shockwaves through the monarchy. According to insiders, Diddy didn't just brag about his high society connections, he reportedly made deeply unsettling comments regarding the future of the York family itself. The details emerging from former associates paint a deeply disturbing picture. It is claimed that Diddy frequently boasted about his access to the Duchess, using it to elevate his own status in ultra-exclusive circles. But the narrative takes an even darker turn. Reports suggest his interest wasn't limited to the adults in the family, with sources claiming he made highly inappropriate remarks about the York daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, as they were growing up. For Princess Beatrice, discovering these alleged statements decades later has been an absolute emotional nightmare. Imagine the horror of realizing your family was being discussed in such a calculated manner by someone now facing massive global scrutiny. Insiders say this specific revelation is what completely broke Beatrice's composure, forcing her into a desperate, around-the-clock effort to shield her younger sister, Eugenie, from the emotional fallout. Beatrice is carrying the weight of the entire family on her shoulders, acting as a buffer between her rattled parents and a relentless media storm. But as the sisters scramble to contain the damage from this shocking connection, a new crisis is brewing from a completely different direction. The spotlight is suddenly shifting back to a much larger, decades-long pattern of behavior within the House of York. And the next set of unsealed documents is about to expose financial secrets. The global spotlight isn't just focusing on recent text messages or phone logs, it has blown open a 40-year history of unchecked elite privilege. According to royal biographer Andrew Loney, the House of York has been operating under a pattern of behavior that senior officials chose to ignore for decades. For years, a blind eye was turned to the family's financial entanglements, always hoping the news cycle would simply move on. But the strategy of waiting out the storm has officially failed, leaving Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie to pay the price for choices made long before their time. The sheer scale of the financial paper trail is what has investigators entirely gripped. Reports suggest that as far back as 2010, internal alarms were raised when Sarah Ferguson was tied to discussions involving paid access to Andrew during his time as a trade envoy. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. A major turning point occurred during a High Court case, which exposed a mysterious, unexplained payment of £1.3 million flowing directly from a foreign millionaire to the York family. When pushed for answers, the family completely refused to explain where the money came from, fueling intense speculation through elite circles. Imagine the immense pressure building on the palace walls as these old financial secrets refuse to stay buried. Insiders say this pattern of behavior is exactly what broke the public's trust, creating a permanent rift between the crown and the people. Every time the institution tries to project stability, another unsealed document drops, completely resetting the clock on the controversy. But it wasn't just the unexplained millions that forced the palace into a corner. The ultimate catalyst arrived when files related to the late financier Jeffrey Epstein were released, containing cringing details about the inner circle's shameless conduct. The public outcry reached such a fever pitch that King Charles was forced to take direct, unprecedented action against his own brother. Yet, even with royal titles stripped and public appearances cancelled, the bleeding hasn't stopped for the family. In fact, the newest wave of panic isn't about what has already been revealed. It's about the terrifying realization of who else might be named in the upcoming files. A wave of pure panic is currently ripping through the upper echelons of the palace, and the question on everyone's lips is terrifyingly simple. Who is next? Insiders say the inner circle is completely paralyzed by the realization that Sarah Ferguson's historic social circle extended far deeper into the global elite than anyone ever admitted. It is believed that senior officials are now frantically reviewing decades of old guest lists, flight manifests, and private event registries. They are desperately trying to anticipate the next catastrophic name to drop, knowing the family cannot survive another massive public association. For Princess Beatrice, this has transformed her daily life into a non-stop game of crisis management. Sources indicate she is carrying the entire family's emotional weight on her shoulders, acting as a human shield between the press and her deeply rattled parents. Rumors suggest she is officially exhausted, spending her days firefighting headlines and her nights preparing for the next inevitable disclosure. The psychological toll of this endless cycle is pushed to the absolute limit. Every single time the palace believes the media landscape is finally calming down, another sudden revelation completely shatters their progress. It is claimed that Beatrice is deliberately keeping her phone on loud at all hours, terrified of what a well-placed contact might tell her next. But her true primary focus isn't just about managing her parents' fragile reputations. Her absolute non-negotiable priority is protecting her younger sister, Princess Eugenie, from the toxic fallout of a lifestyle they had absolutely no part in creating. Beatrice is pulling out all the stops to ensure Eugenie can maintain some semblance of peace during what should be an incredibly happy chapter in her life. Yet, as Beatrice pours all her remaining energy into building a wall of security around her sister, the cracks in her own composure are starting to show. The sheer burden of keeping this entire family from imploding is becoming too much for one person to handle, and the next major decision from the king might just force her to abandon the shield entirely. The ultimate line in the sand has officially been drawn, and Princess Beatrice may no longer be able to protect her sister from the crown's final devastating judgment. Insiders say that senior royals, including Queen Camilla and Prince William, are completely out of patience with the endless cycle of scandals flowing from the House of York. The family name has become so radioactive that a complete permanent cutting of ties is openly discussed behind closed doors. For Princess Eugenie, who has tried so hard to build a peaceful life with her own young family, the looming threat of absolute exile is becoming impossible to ignore. The strategic wall that Beatrice built to shield Eugenie is rapidly collapsing under the weight of the monarchy's survival instincts. Reports suggest that King Charles is facing intense pressure to finalize a total restructuring of the institution, one that leaves absolutely no room for toxic historical associations. This means the sisters are facing a terrifying reality where they could lose what remains of their royal security and standing, all for actions they didn't commit. Imagine the sheer isolation of realizing that your closest allies in the palace are quietly preparing to distance themselves from you entirely. Sources indicate that the trust between the York family and the rest of the institution is completely broken, leaving Beatrice and Eugenie feeling profoundly abandoned. Beatrice's exhaustively demanding role as the family's emotional anchor has officially reached a crisis point, as she realizes she can no longer control the narrative. Ultimately, the heavy crown of the family's past has landed squarely on the shoulders of the next generation, forcing Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie to pay the price for a history they had no part in writing. As the palace struggles to survive a relentless wave of global scrutiny, the sisters are left navigating an incredibly isolated reality behind closed doors. The institution may try to restructure and distance itself, but the public's demand for total transparency is not going away anytime soon. It leaves us with a chilling question. Can a historic monarchy ever truly cleanse its inner circle, or will the hidden shadows of the elite always find a way back into the light? If this deep dive into the palace's latest crisis kept you on the edge of your seat, there is so much more to uncover. Go ahead and tap that subscribe button right now to join our community. And don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next story.